Hey guys, this is Paul from 6Bears. I have some exciting news for you today. We are going to look at a live demonstration today of my long-awaited, much-anticipated, patent-pending 6Bears tactical holster. I've been dropping hints about it for a long time. It's finally patent-pending. It's official. I get to demonstrate it. I get to show it live. Sorry, 1 second. Look, I'm so excited. I'm dry mouthing here today, guys. I'm telling you. Listen. So, I love the Second Amendment. This is what it's all about. Today, it's a little bit about 3D printing, but I want to talk to you about gun ownership and how to carry your gun safely. That's what brought me to this point. I'm a big guy. So when I try to carry regular holsters, I ran into a few problems. I ran into when I sat down at a table or a chair or anywhere, the holster would commonly push up off my belt and fall on the chair next to me. Now, I know a lot of you have probably had that problem. Or the pistol itself would come up out of the holster and fall onto the table or chair or seat next to you. That's kind of embarrassing. It doesn't really make for a safe environment, you know? A lot of people don't feel safe with that. And while you and I may appreciate carrying a pistol, we want others to feel, comfortable around us as well. We want to make sure people understand that we are responsible gun owners. I find that important, I'm a family man. I have 4 children. So I've taught my children gun safety and gun responsibility. So I would want them to also show that kind of responsibility. Now, the right to carry a gun is important, but just throwing it in your pocket, throwing it in any old sloppy holster you find is not the way to go. So I started working on a way to carry a pistol safely. I thought that was a very important fact. I'm a bigger guy. So for instance, when I carry a pistol and if I were to at the gun range, I take it out. Well, as you can see, now listen, I'm going to tilt the camera down. When a pistol comes out, it does this into the side. Well, that can cause you to drop your pistol. Again, that is not safe. So, I ran into that a little bit because I stay sharp. I like to shoot. I set up target and I shoot. Well, do that, drop the pistol. Of course, you can have accidents. So I started working on it. And what started as kind of I wonder if I could, because I own a 3D printing business and I do a lot of work. It turned into, I'm going to figure this out. Now, I typically like to carry a 1911. A 1911, as you may know, is an all-metal pistol, and it's very, very heavy. In fact, it's one of the very, very few, it may even be the only completely steel pistol on the market today. Commonly carried by the military for many, many years. It is very heavy. Nowadays, most people go Glock, which is composite material, so much lighter. But I figured if I could make a safe holster for a larger pistol like the 1911 that also has so much body weight, then I could adapt it to any caliber, any size. Maybe we could put out just something a little bit safer. So after a lot of work, and let me tell you, look at my desk. It's covered in holsters and pieces and parts. Yeah, I made a whole lot of prototypes, my friends. I made so many pieces and parts. I'm not ashamed to say it. I broke a lot of plastic here, okay? I finally came up with a winner. This, my friends, is the 6Bears tactical holster. Now, I know you may ask, why 6Bears? We're 6Bears 3D printing. 6Bears 3DP. Of course, you don't have to have it with this logo on there, but it's awful pretty. And the guys, come on, you wouldn't want to have, you want the robotic bear, right? I'm just playing. You can get them plain. You can get them in any color you want, but that's not what we're here for today. Let's talk about the holster itself. My first thought, when I bought a Kydex holster and a few other brands, there's a lot of material. You went off to the sides here and into the waistbands, and I get it, made for a secure hold, but it didn't always hold. The pistol would slip, slide, come out the belt. I didn't like that. So my first thought was it had to fit the geometry of the pistol. I was concerned that with the geometry of the pistol, now this is my personal 1911. Yes, it's a custom. I built this myself. This is a custom piece. I built it on a Rock Island Armory frame. Went through all the trouble to create my own pistol completely from scratch. So why am I saying that, you ask? First, I don't care if your pistol was $100 or $3,000. Everything from a Derringer to a Kimber 1911 doesn't matter. It's your pistol. It's your investment. It's also your self-protection. It needs to be safe. So the first thing I thought, it had to match the geometry of the pistol. I wanted, now, of course, before I added this on, it fit a little better. But now, don't be alarmed. It's not a, look at the geometry. You can see no extra material. So what we have here is an economy of movement. You do not have a bunch of extra plastic, extra material, wasted space. I don't believe in that. The first thing I wanted was a hard shell. This is made in carbon fiber to protect the finish of the barrel. If you were to bang that against something, we don't want to dent or scrape the finish on that barrel. Like I said, I don't care how much your pistol costs. From the cheapest to the most expensive, it's your money, it's your investment. Your hard-earned income went into that, and it needs to be kept safe. Now let's talk about the other side of that, the inside of the holster. The inside of every Barrett holster, every 6Bears tactical, is felt lined. Now, people ask me why felt. Felt is smooth. One, it protects the finish of the barrel. It'll keep it from getting scratched. We don't want it sliding in and out of here and scratching up against the harsh plastic. But two, on a draw, that felt is smooth. It's like oil, silk. It just slides out of there. So as I'll show you in a minute, it aids the draw. I would pray you never have to pull your pistol. But if you ever needed it, the last thing you want is a holster that has a grip on your pistol by squeezing it. So it gets snagged on the pistol. It doesn't slide out without effort. It needs to be a smooth draw. At the range, in competition, or in an emergency, it has to pull with ease, okay? Now, the other side of it, how does it stay in? Now, that's very important to me. I don't want this pistol to fall out of the holster. When I sit down, I want to be able to know that, do this with most pistols. Look, you can tell I am not holding that pistol by any means. This is all done, look, by the secret of this lock right here, okay? The whole point is, when that is released, look at that. You can't even tell it was locked in there. The whole idea, this lock, a spring-loaded mechanism, is locking the trigger guard, not the trigger. It never touches the trigger. And when you pull in one move, your finger here releases. Look where my finger is. Your finger is on your guard, not your trigger. If it's on the guard, then you will help avoid misfires, accidental misfires. So you won't be touching the trigger, so you don't accidentally squeeze the trigger, you don't bump it, you don't do anything. Your finger is here, but you are still with your finger where it needs to be in case of an emergency. Now, that's very important, because also, look how fast. That's it. No buttons, nothing complicated. As soon as you slide it in, it locks itself into place. Smooth, efficient, no muss, no fuss. Okay? Now, when you do it, I'll show you again. Watch carefully. I'm going to try to leave my hands free. It's kind of hard here. Watch. One finger is all it takes. Look at that. Smooth, economic, clean. We want that to be clean. If you ever need this in emergency, the last thing you need to do is to be unbuttoning a strap, fighting a holster, you know, the ones that, we're not going to name names, but the ones that squeeze your pistol to hold it in, which, by the way, leave rub marks all up and down your barrel. We both know what I'm talking about. But they can hold you when you go to pull, and that holster comes up with the pistol, and it's in the way. That half a second could be life or death. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm not trying to exaggerate. But if you were drawing that pistol for a reason, if you were drawing it to protect you or your family, that half second that it took you to unsnap the snap, to release that squeeze on that barrel, that's the reaction time you need. That matters. Not only that, please notice the hard guard in front of that trigger. That trigger is never touched. If you tend, like most people, to carry one in the chamber, but not cocked, or even if you carry it cocked, some people do, I want that trigger completely untouchable until you're ready. Very important, okay? I designed this holster to be the safest way I could think of to carry a firearm. Is it a conceal and carry? No, it's really not. It's really meant for open carry. It's not one of those petite conceal and carries. If you'll notice, look at the angle of the clip. So look at how it sets the pistol out at an angle. That's because when it sits on your side, you will draw out, not into the body. You'll draw out from the body. By drawing it into the body, you snag. If you draw away from the body, you have freedom of movement. Less chance to drop it, snag it, tangle it, misfire it. So it's comfortable to wear. I watched a lot of Westerns when I was a kid. Have you ever noticed law enforcement, military, Westerns even, the holster has a kick out, not in. That way you don't snag the body. Hold on. Now, let's address that belt clip. The belt clip I did a lot of thinking about, and it seemed like a little bit of a tried and true was almost good. The typical old folded looking belt clip. Okay, like you might think, hey, well, that doesn't look very different than any other belt clip. But it is. If you'll notice, there are small micro teeth down the body, inside of here. They run right up in here, just to give it a kind of a serrated edge. But at the bottom, there's the magic. There's a huge tooth at the bottom right there. You can see it pinches very tightly. But up here, it's wide enough that you can slip your belt through like a belt loop. Or you can pinch it over something. Now, this is important. If you are wearing a vest, it clips. If you had a purse, you could put it in your purse and clip it over the pocket. Now, a lot of guys these days don't wear belts. They wear sweatpants, basketball shorts, things like that. I made sure that this could fit on your basketball shorts, your sweatpants, and when you draw, it will not come off. You can still draw smooth, safely, and it stays where you left it. It's not dropping your shorts or yanking your shorts or coming off with the pistol, which again would be disastrous in certain circumstances. So now a lot of people may ask, hey, that's the 1911. That's a big pistol. Not many people carry something this big. Let's address something more similar to what most people carry. Here's a Canik TP9. Now, the Canik TP9 is a widely carried pistol. Shorter barrel, about a 2.5-inch barrel. Look at that. Exactly the same circumstances. Same thing, see? Okay. Now, on the smaller ones, I made the clip a little less aggressive. And then you can even have the clip on the 1911 made a little more narrow if you needed it to be. I just decided to try a more narrow clip for a conceal and carry size pistol. Now think about that. You've got a narrow clip. It would fit easily in a purse, a belt, a chest strap like this. I do actually have a gentleman that I'm making one for who carries his like this on a harness. He says it fits him wonderfully. So it's a nice concept. Now, I make these to compensate for any pistol, any caliber you can bring. I've made them for the Dagger 9mm. I've done the Witness 45 caliber ACP with light on the bottom. Okay. In fact, I've got one right now I'm making for a gentleman for a little M&P 380. Okay. You name it, we will make them custom. That's the whole point why I'm putting these to market. A pistol is not generic. You can't just buy any. I think a holster should be made for that exact model. Granted, once I've made for one Canic, I can usually make for all Canic, adding on adjustments. If I had a light at the bottom, I would add a section on here for the light. I've already done one for a Canic with a light. So it's not hard. In fact, it is. Look, this is for a full-size Canic for a gentleman. Holler out to J&L Creative Design. This is his, by the way. Now, fits just the same. If I had a conceal and carry size or a full size, it fits just the same. Because a Canic body is a Canic body. They're all the same, see? It's all the same. So, that is a live demonstration of the new 6Bears tactical holster. Now I'm taking this to market, and for now I am taking orders and making them myself, but the goal is I am trying to work up towards selling the license to have, selling so someone big can manufacture them. I am going to say I'm working on getting a marketing team. So yes, I have a GoFundMe. It's in the description. I want everybody to take a look at it, take a good look at it. If you have any questions, hit me up. So far, I've not found a single pistol I could not put one of these holsters on. Now, you might be wondering, how much testing have we done? I currently have about 30 people carrying these holsters in all environments, all manner of calibers. So far, I've had one break, and it was actually my fault. When I was making it, I forgot what they call a plastic weld. It was my fault, but I'm fixing it. But I think you'll agree, this is one of the safest holsters on the market. There's never been one like it. I've got the patent research done. I've got the patent pending. We are ready to go. So look up the GoFundMe if you'd like to help out, get the marketing money together for me. If you have any questions, or if you just want to place an order, you can look me up directly on 6bears3dprinting.com. You can hit me up. The phone number's on my webpage. You can email me, however you would like. So till we meet again, thank you for watching, and wish me luck, because we're jumping off the cliff on this one, guys. Let's hope there's a parachute, because I'm going for the gusto. See you later.